My special greetings to you. How do you do today? Brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, and members of the marriage family. How are you today? Well, thank you for this time around. Thank you for your responses in the previous videos we posted. This one is about the fifth. This is precisely the fifth. And today, like I promised in the fourth video, when we left off, I said I was going to attend to questions that are being asked as a result of the first four videos. I'm sure you have watched them. If you've not, please search for them. The YouTube handle is Benjamin Eden. You can get all the videos. So I've dealt with a couple of things, and today I'll look at just one or two questions. There's someone who asked, and he's saying you seem to be so much in favor of courtship in relationships. What are the advantages of courtship in relationship? And so today I'll be looking at that by the grace of God. First, let me say that it is proper, it is right, it is good, it is scriptural. There are instances in the Bible. We remember the case of Joseph who courted Mary for some time. The Bible said they were engaged. Matthew chapter 2, you can read that. Said they were engaged, but they had not yet come together. So how did they come about being in the same place, the same family compound, but they had not formally gotten married? As a matter of fact, that's why Joseph was so taken aback why his dear babe or girlfriend, as we say it, or suitor, became pregnant when he knew he was not responsible. He told him he felt Mary wasn't honest. And so we also cited the instance of Jacob, who actually courted his dear heart Rachel for 7 years, but eventually some games were played by the father, and he got Leah in return. But he wasn't satisfied. Actually, it was not for Leah that he served. His bride service was for his dear heart, and that's Rachel. So he had to serve further 7 years to be able to have. So courtship is scriptural. Courtship is good for those who ask. And then also, let me also mention that in the period of courtship, it's a very sensitive period in the sense that's the time you get to know yourselves better. And I want to advise parents, allow your children who want to get married, allow them some period of courtship, of course monitored ones, of course supervised, properly supervised, so things don't go wrong. But it is proper for them to have time together, perhaps in a quiet church environment alone, very silent beach time alone. When I mean alone, I don't mean just the two of them. If they have absolute, if they can tame themselves properly, why not? But for those who are still struggling with the issue of emotions and some sort of outburst of love or whatever, it is better under a controlled or supervised environment like the church premises, when there are no fellowship meetings, like the house of the bride to be, the girl when the parents are around, those kind of things, So it's proper to have a time of interaction. That's the time that the two get to know themselves better. They get to interact, they get to ask questions, areas that were not too clear. You remember the issue of the two ways of choosing a marriage partner. I mentioned the direct assessment method and the direct divine method. In the course of the direct assessment method, there are questions, there are issues that the woman, the lady, couldn't, really confirm what's going on, what's the proper answer. It's same thing to the man. So this is the time of courtship, is the period of what? Interacting, asking questions, getting to search more, to know more. So how are you? What's this? This area I didn't get to know. Who are you? What's your family like? These and things like that. These are the issues that are to be sorted out at the period of courtship. And so I'm saying, yes, it is important to have courtship. And also, I like to say that somebody asked me, why did you have to say 6 to 9 months or so? And I said, that's the proper time. That's just fair time anyway. But sometimes there are some issues. You could have the parents of the bride or the parents of the groom to be, begin to create some problems. So if there are parental rejections of the suitor or bride to be or groom to be, it causes a delay. This is understandable. Okay, and so also there could be sudden death or sudden health challenge. Sudden, let's not say death now. Let's say health challenge of any of the suitors, either of the suitors. When there's a health challenge, you can be thinking of processing a marriage relationship when there's a health challenge for your spouse, especially if it's a time that is so obvious and will not let him or her be himself or herself. So this could also be a reason why they say delay beyond the 9 months, which is the upper limit that I gave. I said between 6 and 9 months of interacting with oneself, cutting oneself. One should be able to ascertain if he wants to settle down with this partner or the other one. So that's the point. Health challenge could be next. Could be a loss of one job opportunity. It takes money, finances to run to execute a marriage project. And so if for instance let's just take the man loses his job, it could cause a delay in the courtship period. They eventually get to do to meet up, but for the meantime there will be a delay because the man has to look for something different, an alternative source of income. It takes money to process marriage. So these are possible ways where there could be delay beyond the 9 months upper limit that I mentioned in my video. But be that as it may, I want to tell you here, I want to give some reasons why it is important to keep courtship limited. It is important to keep courtship limited. Why? Especially for Christians and those who are truly, genuinely born again, who desire to please God in their lives. I'm just saying that it's important. This is love flows. It's like a tap. Once you begin to open the tap of love, it begins to flow, gets to an overflow period, and if you are not able to control the flow, something can go wrong. So temptation comes in. Temptation to sin comes in when there's what a prolonged period of courtship, and we do not think that this is good enough. When there are impure thoughts, impure touching, impure embraces and impure kisses and all those kind of things, it's no longer interesting. It's no longer as pure as it ought to be. So to avoid temptation to sin, it's important to keep courtship short. Also, there's a growing apart period. This excitement of coming together. Oh, this is my babe, this is my man, and my guy and my guy, my girl. And then all of a sudden, you just discover that, no. You begin to see that perhaps somebody else could have been better. There's a growing apart. Initially, a growing together, growing towards yourselves. The parties are growing towards themselves. But later on, they begin to grow apart because of the prolonged courtship. So it's not quite advisable to have a prolonged courtship. Number three, I think it is quite time consuming to have a prolonged courtship. It's time consuming indeed. It is time consuming. I'm not going to tie it down to it's really expensive too. To have a prolonged courtship is equally, expensive beyond being time consuming. There are other things, there are other projects that have to be handled. There are things that have to be done. And so once you have ascertained who you're to marry and you have the resources to get married, settle down, face some other projects in life. Courtship period is not a project, that must be kept on and on and on and on, for several reasons. And it's so expensive indeed. It is expensive. You want to buy this for your girl, you want to make sure you please satisfy her, you want to show something that you're able to take care of her, for this period. Sometimes you go beyond your means, to buy something for her and to please her. It's expensive to have an unlimited period or prolonged period of courtship. This is just the truth about it. The financial investment in a prolonged courtship is on the high side. This is what we want to look at it. Then there's emotional waste. This what in thermodynamics, there's this law that Energy cannot be destroyed but can be converted. All the emotional, energy that is put in maintaining a long courtship can be converted into something else or diverted to some other more productive venture once the marriage is executed, rather than keep on and on and on and on and on for six some people for 2 3 4 5 6 7 years cutting. You suddenly begin to see differences, begin to notice things that ordinarily maybe you should notice them. If you must notice them, then you notice them when you're already married. We're not saying that there should be hide and seek game and all of that, but there's no two people who will come together that notice differences. There will always be, and so that's important to keep your courtship, um, short, as short as possible. Then maybe I should also. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to be calling it off any moment from now. But I think it's important for me to mention the issue of social limitation. You see, when a boy and a girl get together and they said, okay, I've just, let's see if we can get married to ourselves. The girl is, automatically, and the boy also, automatically limited in the social, sphere. The boy can't be available to too many girls elsewhere, and the girl can't be available to too many boys, meeting here and there, interacting and talking. Someone is going to get angry. You know what I'm talking about for those who are married. You know what I'm talking about. And for those who are about to get married, you know what I'm talking about. That you can't keep seeing your girl looking around or hanging around with other boys and all of that, even if they have nothing evil in mind, even if they're not discussing anything evil. But why is she not able to give me more attention than the other person? Have I not been able to have a place in her heart? Why does she prefer this other person? If it's a young man, be saying, are you sure nobody's going to convince this girl that and take her over, from me? That kind of a feeling and situation. And that's why it's important at all costs to keep what? Keep your courtship as short as possible. I do pray that by the grace of God, let God make all the provisions that you need to be able to get married on time, because long courtship or prolonged courtship is not the very best, especially for Christians, genuine Christians who want to keep purity, while getting married. While serving the Lord and all of that. So my prayer for you is that God Almighty will provide you with all that is required in necessary intellect, necessary maturity. You need the financial provisions and all that is required, health status good, so that you can get married in good time. God bless you, and thank you so much for watching.